Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for taking some time for us today. We are really excited to be meeting with you to share a little bit more of the MGT story. We really appreciate you taking some time today to join us and learn a little bit more. So before we get started, let's go ahead and just do a quick round of intros. And Jason, I'm going to be talking a lot today, so I'll give everybody a break and let you take it away from here.
I appreciate that, Dan. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I don't necessarily want to speak for Dan, but we've talked about this plenty of times, and I know this is true for him too. This is our favorite meeting of the week, right? We get a chance to work with agents all day, every day, and that's what it is that we know and love. But this is an opportunity for us to work with brand new agents in a webinar format where you guys can ask all kinds of questions. We get to interact with you. We get to hear what's important to you and answer.
Oop, I think Jason might have froze. Maybe I did. But just to take it away, make sure we don't have any dead air. This is really one of our favorite half-hour blocks of the whole week. This is where the agents who are most interested, most engaged in learning about MGT will join us and where we get to connect directly with you. So all along the way today, as we go through this presentation, I'd like to invite you to use the chat feature bottom middle of your screen. I'm going to send a quick message there just so it pops up on the interface. And so please use that chat feature to ask any questions along the way. We really enjoy when those come through, and we always do a little internal contest to see if any of us get stumped. So if you get a hard one, shoot that in too. So let's go ahead. I actually always like to start out with a question for you all. And I'm just really curious for those of you on the call now, who has a favorite flavor of ice cream? Let us know what that is in the chat here. For me, I would say I like all ice creams, but my favorite probably would be a mint chocolate chip if I had to pick just one. Looks like Matthew Zimmer's got toasted almond. Jeff's got cookies and cream. James, lactose intolerant. You should try gelato though. I think gelato's okay. Oh man, we got so many answers coming in. Rocky Road, anything with nuts and chocolate. Definitely agree with you there, Erica. Chocolate, salted caramel. Dennis just misses ice cream. Christina, chocolate chip cookie. You really cannot go wrong with a good chocolate chip cookie dough. Chocolate chips just the best cookie of them all, and so putting that in an ice cream form, it's an unstoppable force. I the other day went and got a ice cream cone from a place near me, and I noticed within 3 to 5 minutes it was starting to melt, get my hands all sticky, and I just realized, in that 3 to 5 minutes, I could have been quoting small commercial accounts and getting bindable quotes back through MGT's online platform. So now I'm going to show you how we do all that. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll jump right in. Oh, that is the wrong screen. Sorry, I like to do a little oopsie-doo every once in a while, just so you know that this is a live recording. You're not seeing a pre-recorded demo here. So with MGT, the era of Neo Insurance has arrived. And I know we've got folks right now sitting on their sides of the screen saying, Dan, what the heck? 2 seconds ago, you were talking about ice cream. Now you're throwing all these crazy buzzwords at me. What is Neo Insurance even anyway? And I would say you can kind of think of Neo Insurance in the context of the wider industry. You've got your insurance carriers out there. We all know them. Often we love them. They do great things. They've been protecting people's businesses and livelihoods for decades, sometimes even hundreds of years for some of these companies. But I don't think it would be controversial to say that as they've grown and as they've evolved, they have not always had the top goal being making things fast and easy to access. Over the last several years, you've had insurtechs joining the space. There's a lot of different ways they can be organized: MGAs, MGUs, wholesalers, comparative raters, etc. But when you start to kind of look into the mechanics of how they work, typically they are not distributing their own insurance product. They've got a kind of underwriting carrier behind the scenes. A lot of times they're not even doing it with their own technology. They've licensed through different vendors the technology that they use. And so, because of that, they don't really have that full control of the process. That's where MGT is different. We are the carrier. We stand behind the risks that we underwrite through our platform. We set the guidelines. We chose the coverage forms to use. We do use the ISO forms, which we'll dig into here in a minute. We also built the technology for our platform that we use to quote, bind, issue, and service these risks. We even have in-house management of our claims team. And so because of all those features, we can really deliver to you, to our mutual customers, the policyholders, a really good experience from when you very first begin to think, hey, I need a quote, all the way out to if a loss ever occurs, making sure it gets adjusted and paid out. So let's talk about a couple quick facts about MGT. We are rated A minus by AM Best, so we've got excellent financial strength. We're also writing all of our policies on the ISO BOP forms, which are the most legally tested forms on the market. What I think you'll all really appreciate is that we've built a 100% digital, zero friction process where you will never have to fill out an accord. We will never come back to you and ask you to do 45 pages of supplemental applications. And you don't have to do 3 week long email chains going back and forth with underwriting teams trying to firm up terms and get more additional information. In fact, through our platform, you can receive a bindable quote in just 3 to 5 minutes. And all quotes through the platform are fully bindable. It is not just setting you up to get an underwriting indication. We have a wide footprint as well. We're admitted in over 40 states and Washington, D.C., with plans to continue expanding. So stay tuned. A couple quick numbers here, and I'm not going to read off everything on the screen, but the one that I really do like to highlight on this page is that in the last quarter, our platform had 100% uptime. What that means is that 100% of the time, somebody needed to access MGT's platform to run a quote, bind a policy, to service an account, to answer questions, to facilitate payment. Our platform was live, it was online, it was ready to help, and it was not throwing up error screens or endless loading pages. I think that kind of stability is really important and just underlines the type of partner that we want to be to you. So let's talk appetite. We are writing over 300 classes of business with a focus on small businesses. We'll be a great fit for artisan contractors, professional offices, medical offices, retail stores, barbershops, beauty parlors, nail salons, bakeries, grocery stores, restaurants with up to 50% alcohol sales, and more can all be a great fit with MGT. Again, we are focused on small business, and to us, that means up to 3 million in revenue. For most risks, up to 5 million in revenue for professional and medical office risks. We'll write businesses with up to 100 employees, up to 30,000 square feet as a general rule of thumb. There can be a little nuance there from class to class. We do write up to $2 million total insured value in property per location with up to 4 locations per policy. So you got a lot more flexibility there than I think is typical in the small business market. We also do write new ventures, businesses with coverage lapses, claims history, no prior insurance can all be eligible as well. Tanya has a great question. Where can we access the full appetite guide? Tanya, sit tight. I will show you that in just a minute. James has a question, E&O for professional risks. So we don't write the errors and omissions for our professional risks. They generally would be better served with a standalone policy, and what we would do is more of just a endorsement to the BOP. And so we wouldn't want to offer something that's not the best thing that it could be. So we just don't play in that market yet. We do write professional liability, though, for barbershops, beauty parlors, and nail salons, which I've found has been very impactful for those classes. So, really good questions so far. Keep them coming. Now, let's talk a little bit about coverages. I do get caught all the time saying that we can only write the BOP or we just write BOPs. And the reality is, yes, we do write policies using the BOP forms. There's a lot of coverage available, though, that you can add in. A couple of the impactful ones that I've found, higher non-owned auto definitely deserves a highlight. This is available for a lot of our office risks, retail risks, as well as for restaurants that aren't doing any delivery with their own employees, and artisan contractors as well. Professional liability, which we just touched on, again, is available for barbershops, beauty parlors, and nail salons. I find that is often driving coverage decisions. If we've got anybody joining us from a monopolistic workers' comp state, I had to learn what stopgap coverage is for you all, so I always like to highlight that's available as well. We've got mine subsidence in a few states too, and a few other ones that I definitely encourage you to dig into when you're in the platform quoting. So we've got some optional coverages and sublimits available as well. The real highlight here is that when you're working through our platform and you're fine-tuning a quote that you've run, you'll actually be able to add all these different sublimits and deductibles and optional coverages, and the platform will only show you bindable options. It's never going to let you get terms that you can't stand behind. We do have some enhanced coverage as well available for restaurants. They've got access to higher limits for contamination and spoilage, supremacist security coverages, higher non-owned auto that we just discussed. And if they are doing any valet operations, up to 150,000 in coverage for damage to customers' property. That's a really interesting one because we actually rolled out restaurants several months ago and pretty quickly got some feedback from one of our agencies that that was a coverage that they really needed to be able to offer. And within 2 weeks, we had that live online on the platform. If you were looking at a traditional insurance company, probably would have taken 2 years to get all the sign-offs necessary to offer that. An insure tech probably would have had to say, sorry, our carrier doesn't support it, so we just can't do that. And that's really kind of underlining the difference of MGT being a neo insurer, owning the platform, owning the insurance product. We're able to make that decision to deliver to you a product that does what you need it to do. So let's go ahead now and take a look at how everything works. And so before we jump into the platform itself, I always like to start out here on the website, mgtinsurance.com. For those of you following along on your screen and Tanya out there, I like to recommend clicking on the Appetite tab here in the upper left-hand corner. That'll take you into the Appetite page where you can see a list of all the states that we're writing. You can also scroll down and you can download an appetite guide and you can communicate with Amy, our AI appetite assistant. Amy's available for you 24/7, and she can answer all kinds of questions like, can you write a barbecue restaurant in Austin with, let's just say, 2 million sales, 25 employees, 20% alcohol sales, and 75,000 square feet? So if you're looking at just your kind of traditional spreadsheet of class codes and state availability, you wouldn't even be able to really dig into a question like this. But using Amy, you're able to get an answer back in just a couple seconds. And so you can know going forward into that quote whether will be a good fit for it, what important information you should get ahead of time. So it just sets you up for success. And again, this is available all the time. You don't even have to log in to get to this part of the website. So I definitely encourage you to use this as a resource. The real fun now, that starts once we get signed in, and then that will take us into the platform. From here, you've got a few different options. You can start a quote. You can use the user management page to add to your team in the platform. And then if you do need appetite information, again, we made it pretty easy to access that as well. On the sidebar, you've got options for policies, quotes, and user management, all fairly self-explanatory there. So let's go ahead. We'll start a new quote. And then once this gets loaded up, I'm just going to do a little, it's called Charm School Study Hall. This is actually an ice cream store. It's just how I operate sometimes. I get something in the mind and can't get away. So let's go ahead and run a quote for Charm School and see how we do here. So we'll click continue. What's happening now is behind the scenes, our technology is coming online. We are communicating with dozens of different data vendors, and we are collecting over 3,900 different data points on this business. We're using that to classify the risk. We're using that to qualify it in a lot of cases. And then, as you'll see as we proceed through the quote here, we're also pre-filling a lot of the application questions for you. That kind of changes the mindset or the paradigm of running a quote from having to do a ton of research, look through accords, go back and forth with the insured, to more just being able to say, yes, this looks right, or no, maybe we need to make an adjustment here, but at least we've done most of the data entry for you in that case. One thing I do like to say here, though, is that when we are going through all these different data resources, we're at least 90% sure that the information they're delivering is accurate. There's a little daylight there between 90 and 100%. And so I do encourage you as you go through this process to just take a minute. Remember, it's not a race to click continue, continue, continue as fast as you can. And just confirm that the information on the screen is accurate and complete. And that way, the quote that you get at the end will be a fully accurate quote as well. So you can see here, we've classified it as ice cream store. We're going to click continue here. First couple questions will always be the same. Have there been any claims and do we need to add any cover or any building coverage? We'll just click continue and leave that as it is. We'll have our eligibility questions. This is actually correct for this risk. I'm going to set it to no just so it quotes for us and then click continue again. And then in the next page, we should be able to add a little bit more information. And again, you'll see our technology is finding a lot of these details for us. And, I think actually all of this is completely correct for this business. But say we know there are actually 5 employees, not 3. To make that update is as easy as keying in the correct information. So we'll click continue again. We'll go ahead and give them some sales. Click continue. And then in the next page, we can add any additional insureds and add the building information. So I do like to recommend adding the additional insureds up front if you know that they'll be needed. We can always endorse them onto a policy after it's in force, but there can be some additional premium for additional insureds. And so if you add them at this stage, when you get that quote at the end, that'll include the pricing for the additional insureds as well. So this just takes a moment to load, as you'll see. We're all set here. So to add an additional insured, we will just select the type of additional insured, enter in their name and address, answer a couple questions, and then when we get to the quote, at the end, this will be included. Great question from Tanya. How do claims affect the approval, size of claims, type of claim, etc.? Great question. Up to 2 claims with up to 10,000 total paid out will instant quote. So if they've got 1 claim, 5,000 payout, that should instant quote for you. If they've got 1 claim, 15,000 payout, that would refer. When risks do refer, our technology also sends a lot of important information up to the underwriting team. So they can get to a decision much, much faster than underwriters working with traditional workflows. So generally, we can turn those around within 24 hours is the goal. So really good question. To add the rest of the building coverage is fairly straightforward. I do like to run these submissions as tenant businesses just to keep things easy for everybody. Um, if you were working though on a risk where they do own the building, those can be really fantastic ways to see the power of the technology in action because it's going to pull a lot of that building information for you as well. You can see for us, it pulled the square footage, the construction type, automatic sprinkler systems. If they've got actual building coverage on there, it can pull the year it was built, roof shape, roof type, all those kinds of important information. Craig coming in with a really good question. Do you offer CG 2010 and 2037 endorsements? So we are technically writing our contractors on BOP forms. Those are both CGL endorsements. We do have a blanket additional insured for ongoing operations available. We're still working on getting everything set up to offer blanket additional insured for completed operations available. We do also have the primary non-contributory wording. Waivers of subrogation are available. So we can meet a lot of those certificate requirements, but if you've got a contractor with kind of that big long list of requirements, that may not be the best fit for us just at this particular stage, but it is something we're working towards and should be out soon. It's a really good question there. So let's go ahead and click continue. And then we've got one more question after this. It'll ask us if we want to opt out of TRIA coverage. We'll keep that on and click continue. And then in just a second here, we should have a bindable quote ready to present. So one thing I always like to point out too is that this is fully accurate. So as long as the information on the application is complete, you can take this to the bank. I do have people reach out, especially when they're new. Hey, I just got this quote. Does your team need to review it? And the answer is no. But that's the power of the technology that we've built. And so you can see here we've got a premium for it. We can scroll down and we can update all of these various sublimits and deductibles. Scroll all the way down to the bottom to access the optional coverages. Maybe we want to add in some hired non-owned auto. To do that, we'll just check the box. And you'll see as we make these changes that this premium updates for us in the upper right-hand corner. Um, so we can make as many of these changes as we want. We just increase the premium a little bit by adding the higher non-owned auto. Maybe we want to increase the deductible and try and find some balance there. And so we'll just go ahead and make that change, click update quote. And then once we update the quote, that kind of locks in those changes. That's what we would consider to be the active version of the quote. And when we download the quote letter here, or when we send it all out to the applicant to finalize, all those changes will be reflected. Really good question that just came in. Are we able to write 24 hours gas stations in all states, or is it a case by case basis? So couple layers to peel away there. For gas stations, 24 hours is just out of appetite for us, kind of across the board. And then we've also temporarily paused accepting new business submissions for gas stations and convenience stores in all states. So we just wanted to take a look at that product, make sure that what we're offering is competitive and sustainable. I don't think that it's gone forever, but right now, if you were to try and quote a C store, even if it's the most perfect C store that's ever existed, it would decline in our system. So really good question though, and I appreciate you asking that. So let's take a look now at what the binding process looks like. To get there, we'll click continue to bind. We'll confirm our effective date, and then we'll enter in the policyholder's contact information. Now we'll click confirm and send to insured. And this will trigger an email over to the policyholder that contains a link with that they can use to finalize the purchase of the policy. On your screen, it'll take you into this page where you can keep track of what's happening with that link. And if you close this page, just go back into the platform. We'll be able to find this in the quotes tab. And when you open it, it'll take you right here. So if you do need to follow up on this quote, you've got all their information right here ready to go. And you can see what's happening with that link. These will actually update live in real time. Now, one thing a lot of folks overlook if they, especially if they haven't attended this webinar, is the copy share link button right here. You can click that. That'll actually copy that link to finalize the purchase of the policy to your computer. Then you can send it out by email. You can send it out as a text message if you'd like. Or what I'll do here is just open up a new tab and paste it in. Oh, that's not the right link. There we go. That's the right link. So that'll paste it in. And then you can use this to kind of help somebody through this process if they need a little extra hand holding too. First step is we'll select our payment terms. We are direct bill, so there are no additional financing charges. We do offer monthly, quarterly, or annual payments. If we select one of the installment options, then you can also click View Payment Schedule to see exactly what each payment will be and when each installment will be due. So we'll click continue here. And then the next step is to e-sign policy documents. I know in previous roles, I've run into this where we send everything over to the applicant to sign. They print it out, sign it, scan it, email it back. We email it over to whoever needs to review it. And that person comes back and says, hey, you missed the initials on page 83. I can't bind this until you get those to me. Well, with the process we've developed here, that should never really happen. First thing we'll do is give it the squiggle. Everybody always smiles when they see how easy this is. We'll agree to e-signing. And then if you click start signing, it will take you through every signature line. So you can review and sign. What I'll do though to keep things fast and easy for us today is just click sign all and knock it all out in one shot. That will automatically sign everything that needs to be signed. It emails those documents over to all the parties so we all have a paper trail and a record that this occurred. These will also be available to you in the platform in case you need to go back in the future and revisit those signed documents. Final step here is to collect payment. We do accept credit, debit, and ACH. All major credit card brands are available. I like to recommend ACH because it's typically the most cost-effective option. And then to finish this out, we'll just enter in the payment information. Auto pay is automatically selected. If they'd like to disable auto pay, then you can just toggle that option. I like to recommend keeping it on now, and then we'll check the box and click complete transaction. And then you can see we've got the invoice number here, so we know this transaction has gone through. And when we click back into the platform here, this will update for us. So we can see again that everything has occurred. And when we click into the policy detail page, we'll have access to all the policy information. Now, Swati came in with a really excellent question. Can we write new venture business? And the answer to that is a big yes, absolutely. For most classes of business, new venture is not even really an underwriting concern for us. For restaurants, we do want to make sure if it's a new venture restaurant, there's a general manager that has at least 3 years of experience. And for artisan contractors, we do want to see that they have at least 3 years of experience as well. For all other classes, though, new venture won't even refer. It'll just go right on through. So you can see here in the policy page that we've got a lot of important information right at our fingertips. We can see the policy period, policyholder contact info, business information, some information on their limits, information on the pay plan. You click view schedule here, you can see when the upcoming payments will be. We can download receipts and invoices. If we scroll down, you can download all these signed policy documents. In the exposures page, you can see what's actually on the application. So maybe if we just needed to confirm business personal property limits, we can do that by selecting the building that we're looking at, and then it's right here. And so that way we don't have to download that 135-page policy document and start combing through that for answers. It's just right on the screen. Took us 2 seconds to access. Up at the top, we've got the quick actions button. And from here, you can generate a certificate of insurance. And then when you do have a payment that's closer to being due, there will be an option in here to send an automated payment reminder as well. So Erica has a really interesting question. For commercial building and property, is there any class of business you will not insure? No. As long as the class of business is eligible with MGT, then the commercial building coverage would be eligible as well. There are some situations, however, where we don't write building coverage. We don't write building coverage for coastal risks, which generally would be tier one and tier two counties. We don't write building coverage in high and moderate wildfire risk areas either. I will note, though, that even in those coastal and those wildfire exposed areas, we can still write business personal property on the BOP. So maybe we can be a case where we come in, we make the contents, the GL exposure super easy, and it's so fast that that gives you some more time back in your day to find surplus lines placement for the building on those risks, which would be a little tougher. Veronica has a really great question. Is LRO a BOP class? We are not writing lessor's risk just yet, but I would say stay tuned because we get a ton of interest in LRO, and I know we would love to get that on the platform too. So really good question. Right now, we're a better fit for tenants or the business if they own the building. So excellent questions. Let's go ahead. Got a couple more slides in the deck to review. I wanted to share some of these recent wins as well. These should be very good examples of the kinds of accounts that we can help out with. We did an electronics retailer in Texas. They were actually a cell phone store in the Houston area. For those of you who are familiar with Texas, you know that could be a pretty tough class of business and a tough location to write. We actually instant quoted it though, and they replaced a non-renewal with an admitted bound policy in less than 10 minutes. This C store I'm going to skip over. As I mentioned earlier, we paused that class of business. I had a new example in there of a grocery store that we wrote in Washington, which came out to about 3,700 in premium. I'm not sure why that didn't save. Then we also did a seafood restaurant in Georgia. They had the 1 mil, 2 mil GL, 1 mil, 2 mil liquor liability, about $1 million in property coverage. That came into less than 15,000 in annual premium. And they really tailored those sublimits and optional coverages to create something that really fit that business and their exposures and their concerns, even though it started out with this kind of base BOP form. So I thought that was a great example. And then last slide here, maybe the most important one of them all. You've got a whole team at MGT that's here to support you. What I get to demonstrate in these webinars is our mighty good technology. What you won't get to see until you start to work with us a little bit more, though, is the mighty good team that's here to stand behind that tech and continue to deliver on that promise to you to make things fast and easy. So as you're getting started with MGT, please use me as a resource. I'm here to help, and you can kind of think of me as your MGT fixer if you're just not sure who to reach out to. Get in touch with me, and I'll make sure we get you helped out. Especially as you start working with us more, you'll hear from Annalise, who's a fantastic resource and a great advocate for you here. We also have a customer support team. They are available by phone, email, and web chat. I really like to recommend the chat though, because that gives them some extra context when you reach in. It just makes, sorry, when you reach out, and it helps make it easier to get you that assistance that you need and answer your questions. And then we've got Amy, who we all met at the beginning of the call, who's available 24/7, 365 for all those appetite questions. So I will keep things open for another few minutes here. I know we did kind of breeze through that. That's how we like to do things here, just fast and easy. But if anyone saw anything that you wanted to dig into more, have some questions, please feel welcome to reach out. So Miguel, great question here. To confirm, no building coverage for coastal areas such as the Texas coast, only GL. So that is on the right track. We don't write building coverage in those areas, but we would still write a BOP that includes the business personal property or the contents. Matthew, really good question. Wildfire areas, is there a specific FireLine rating you avoid? So we do use a few different resources that have that modeling, but in general, every risk stands on its own. So we want to see features like defensible space, fire resistive building features. And in those cases, even in areas where it might have like a high or moderate risk, that still might be something we could work with. And we would still do the business personal property in those areas as well. So really good questions. Oh, and another excellent question, home-based business, question mark. Those are eligible. So home-based businesses, just depending on the type of business, it may refer just so that we can get a sense of their operations, but those are eligible with MGT. Oh, thank you. Thank you for asking those questions. Well, one question that often comes up, I'm a little bit surprised that I haven't seen it in the chat. A lot of people ask me, what does MGT stand for? And this afternoon, I think it stands for Mighty Good Time. I know I've had one. Hope you have too. I really appreciate you taking some time and spending that with us this afternoon to learn a little bit more about us. We're really excited to be working with you. So please, if you do have any questions, if you need any assistance, feel welcome to reach out. And until then, really appreciate your time. Look forward to working with you.